Ooh, Yone for Scout.
Yone is actually
a lot of fun.
This is a really nice way to change this draft up, and the Ziggs Leona has always been a classic. When they banned the Nautilus, I was like, well, I like that ban. It makes a lot of sense, but Leona's still out there.
And it's Lehens. He loves Leona.
Yeah.
He loves Nautilus more, but he does really like Leona.
He's like the only one who plays this besides Life. Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
I don't...
Gideon looks pretty excited about it.
I like the Fury a lot more because there's a lot of CC to press W for. Kha'Zix might just go splat in most situations here, I think.
Yeah.
So a bit of a, snatchel, but also disengagel.
Yeah. Well, Gideon, they're going to need another one of those. Taeyoon in a bit of trouble. Namgung does get out of the turret range. Taeyoon takes a little bit of time to die as Teddy just barely survives. And the teleport coming in, but it's a turtle port here from Scout. Takes him about forever to get there. Lehens for a few moments, but he does have the Eclipse. Ooh, Public Execution gets hopped there.
Yeah.
High casting. It is 1,000 gold. Not really the end of the world as the arrow is sent through the wall and connects onto Kingin. Casting wants to be able to find this, but he doesn't have the ulti. As Kingin wanting to get a few dashes in order, there is no one here to help out. So Casting needs to do this himself. And when Kingin gets some buttons back, he should be able to get himself out of the way. The Q is going to land, and Casting doesn't find that statue. Skin throws a statue at him. There's the flash. Zenith Blade in from Lehens, and there's Scout going forward with the ulti. Down will go Loki. And Nongshim answered that first blood finally here in this mid lane.
Turn.
Yeah.
Instead, be a bit of an angle here for casting.
Nara into the wall as Kingin might be in a little bit of trouble here. Another statue is going to connect and hits Mini Nara at exactly the right time. Flashes to pick up the hyper proc, and Casting gets a solo kill here in the top lane. It's deaf ears, 100%, but still. Okay, here it is. Public Execution comes down, and there's an encore. And Nongshim say, yes, we'd be happy to do that again.
Press R together. And the three of them did, and Kingin was like, I don't miss these.
Nope. Oh, Scout eats some rocks as there's the Fate sealed. Loki in a bit of trouble here as he flashes to get himself out of the way. The flash cube from Scout just to close the distance. As Gideon comes over, the flash ulti comes on forward, and the seismic shove is there. Loki gets the shutdown. Beautifully played and great save there from Gideon.
The wave is crashed. Loki can't get through. The timing, the ultimate here from Scout as well, perfect. Comes in, does a bunch of damage, and the Loki flashes here at the right moment. As Lehens in live,
he is going to be hit by an arrow and will die.
The dragon for a moment. This is really awkward.
Yeah, Casting made his way in. Does have that big old shield from the quest. The dragon loses interest in the fight. Scout now looking to make his way over. Doesn't find the knockup from the Q, but Casting takes a lot of damage. The encore goes wide. They found Namgung and they just execute him. Hop over the wall there from Casting, but now BRO are completely out of the fight. And Nongshim gets straight back onto this dragon. Soul Point and Mountain Soul in this game, so incredibly valuable here for Nongshim. Makes them so durable. And Gideon, can he perform a miracle to try and lock this one down? Cease and desist comes in. They try and get rid of the vibe, but he's unstoppable, but still, they have enough damage. The dragon is given up on, and Nongshim may have just thrown the game away.
I think they just
did. In an instant, Gideon dives on top of Taeyoon. He's now a Ziggs with nowhere to go. No Escapsule is enough to save you in that situation, and Kingin is wondering where all of his friends went. Is what they're looking for. Crystalline Overgrowth going to get eaten here, and there's the ult in from Gideon. Does get the knock-up onto Casting as he's looking to try and take down this Gnar, and pulls himself back. Scout, beautiful play there on the top side of the map.
Huge Q3, there's the satchel. So they get two turrets.
Actually, no, I don't come from
a baseball place. You know, it's pretty, it's hefty.
Oh, cricket though, those balls real hard. So yeah, I understand. Okay, Lehens taking way too much damage. Solar Flare is going to connect onto Teddy, but even though it takes a while to kill him, the Leona has no friends.
Being picked would have made it even worse, as we're going to see a potential pick on the Casting now.
Yeah.
Press R together.
Cease and desist does come in, and Casting's very, very dead. Scout is not in too much trouble right now, though, as the Weaver's Wall does come on through. Lehens wants to try and save Taeyoon, but he uses the Escapsule quite nicely. Gideon throws out the ulti here. There's the flash, but Taeyoon, I think, is still going to die. Mega Inferno Bomb from the grave does a bit of work, but it's still not going to be enough, and another ulti comes forward. Really nice Vault Breaker from Sponge just to get Gideon out of there, but still, they're able to come on over and get a decent amount of damage towards his turret with the Crystalline Overgrowth.
The prio, bro, we're actually going to push through. That was a choice.
Sometimes you just press R instead of ward. You know, I've done that. I've definitely done that. Well, Blast Cone not going to be utilized here as there is a flank angle from Sponge.
Teddy is trying to stay as far back as possible.
Oh, the arrow actually gets dodged with a Blast Cone? That was crazy! There's the steal from Sponge. Encore gets flash. Mega Inferno Bomb needs to be W'd. The flash, the ulti comes on forward, but Scout immediately gets out. Nongshim, they can back away. At least that's what I'm told.
That was one of the best team fights from... Okay, hold on, Sponge.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay, Gideon does have ulti. Now the Weaver's Wall comes in. Kingin looking for an angle, and Sponge is very dead. Cease and desist, public execution, and he survives! Nongshim can win fights!
And Kingin,
as they bait Pro to do exactly what they did.
Yeah.
It's the throwback!
Kingin's like, I remember this play the opposite way. I'm just going to wait. Surely they'll follow us. And guess what? They did. He had the angle held. He still had his ultimate. We're going to see TPs exchanged here from top and mid lane. Is Teddy, where you going?
Oh, God, they're dead. They're going into the Death Chamber Wolf. That is where they're going. Casting might be following them as well, as that would be the ace for Nongshim. As there it is, in goes Lehens. He finds the Eclipse button as well to keep himself alive, and that is the ace that we were talking about. Casting, you can see, not exactly happy about that one. Understandable. We've now moved to a 5,000 gold lead as Kingin might be caught out of position here, as he does have the ulti available. He uses it to go in, because why not? Because he was definitely going to be dead. A lot of damage there with the Mega Inferno Bomb, but 4 versus 1.
Just hold the dragon, Nongshim. Lehens, don't you dare!
Gideon is down very, very low. This minefield actually doing so much work. Mega Inferno Bomb forces Gideon to bounce out of the way, and that means that they take this dragon. The way they've utilized this Ziggs pick has just been fantastic, as Nongshim are now looking for an angle with these brand new shields built up. The bros are now cornered. Weaver's Wall comes down. They're looking to try and close in onto Kingin, who just ultis to try and start the fight himself. Cease and desist into the backline from Sponge. Gets on top of Teddy, but Teddy's able to kite this one out. The GA is now procced, as the bros are actually kiting relatively effectively. Gideon now relatively low, though, and Kingin looking to dive forward. There's the Zenith Blade, and that's going to allow the lockdown of casting once again. The Fate Seal comes out from Scout. He unbinds the soul to look for Teddy, and he will find him. Loki down as well, and now Gideon desperately trying to escape, and I don't think Sponge will allow him to, as he might be able to press W. Yes, he does. He calls the pack, and that might allow him to escape as the doggos tank up the turret shots, as that last one goes really, really far.
The doggos were like, I'm not going to let you get hit by the cone, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
The cone actually was just too far away. I think he's still dead, though.
Yeah, Sponge is still going to get over. He will have another W, though. So there it is. Let's see whether he can actually... He can't. He just has no health. Trying to put on some pressure wherever he can, but the arrow is going to connect. Ulti is going to absorb it there, as Scout will have to go back to that soul that's in the middle of a wall. He is instead just going to die.
Pop inhibitor survives. They're looking for bottom size. Teddy again.
Arrow connects onto Tay, and he actually walked into it. There it is. Beautiful shove. And another pickup for the bros. I mean, minus 2,000. Pool bay flanking, as he will be able to vault break himself in there. But let's see. Solar Flare is just going to slow a few of them down. Not too much more is going to come of it. The bouncing bombs aren't exactly landing right now.
So much patience here for Nongshim, but like you said, the poke is not landing. Sponge is looking like he's going to commit. Vault breaker out.
Yeah, he gets on in there as Loki goes forward as well. There's the Cease and Desist Mega Inferno Bomb. Everyone's health bar gets wiped out, but Teddy, he flashes and Kingin gets on top of him. That'll lock down the Ash. And Kingin does get charmed for a few moments, but now Loki's just trying to throw these rocks around it. It is not enough to win the fight against Nongshim. Sponge's grand flank ends up working out, as he does try and vault break around. Does have to play around these rocks, which is kind of frustrating, as Loki's health bar is just like one hit away, but he seals his fate, and that is Scout that helps lock him down.
9,000 damage for Tayu in this game. In this fight, just one fight. He did a lot, even though not all of the poke landed. Enough of it did, and the engage was crisp. And that's the end of it. Nongshim will narrowly defeat Hanjin Breon here. It looked like it might have been Bro's night here. They had so many ins, but ultimately just could not find the consistency.
Oh, it's such a shame, but there it goes. Nongshim